Hello, everyone, and welcome to Southern Lee Cavalier Football and the Mike McClure Coaches Show. I'm Austin Thomas, and I'll be your host as we talk Cavalier football and visit with Southern Lee head coach Mike McClure. As always, we want to thank our sponsors for helping us bring our show each and every single Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. here on 105.5 FM WFJA. Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau of Tramway, Sheriff Brian Estes, Dairy Bar and Flame Restaurants, and Jones Printing Company. Tonight's show will be rebroadcast at 6 p.m. this Friday night prior to our 7 o'clock game on 95.1 FM, 1050 AM, WWGP. Video of our coaches show will be posted on the WFJA Facebook page each Wednesday by noon. I look forward to talking with Cavalier head coach Mike McClure tonight and bringing you exciting coverage of Southern Lee Cavalier football. We're going to take a short break and hear from our great sponsors. We'll be right back with Coach McClure right after this.
WFJA would like to thank the following advertisers for bringing you the Lee County Coaches Show: Jones Printing Company, Domino's, WilkinsonCars.com, Sheriff Brian Estes, Farm Bureau of Tramway, the Dairy Bar and Flame Restaurants, Fix-It Plumbing, and Brick Capital Video.
And we welcome you back to the Southern Lee Coaches Show. Austin Thomas in studio this evening here on WFJA with Southern Lee head coach Mike McClure. Coach McClure, thanks again for joining us this week. I know that coming off of week one, first game of the season didn't quite go the way I think a lot of people were hoping for as Southern Lee falls to Westover in a tough matchup. But Westover being a good team that they are, going deep into the playoffs last year. Kind of walk us through what you saw on Thursday night, rather, that you feel like the Cavaliers actually look good doing.
Well, at the beginning, the first half, I'd say all the way up in the halftime, we played a solid game defensively. I felt like, we forced them to make mistakes. We didn't capitalize on all of those mistakes, but for the most part, man, we were in the game. We gave up the big play. Which is unfortunate because I have been preaching that we can't give up the big play, all week at practice. And those two touchdown plays were actually plays, just big play plays. They didn't really drive the ball down the field on us at all, which I could say on that to us was good because they didn't really have drives. It was just more so of the big plays that they had that got them in a position to score and to go up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think that night the biggest rush out of any single play by Westover was around 40 yards or so. But that's one thing that Mike and I definitely noticed coming off of last year is that defense and special teams especially looked night and day different coming into this season. Can you walk us through why that was such a focus for you and your staff coming into 2022?
Well, I just believe, you got to stop people in order to have a chance to win football games. So, just emphasis on defense in that regards. But all three phases of the game we put an emphasis on. Like I said, I may put more emphasis on special teams because, as I mentioned before, that a lot of high school teams overlook special teams, and that in a block punt or block kick or a punt return for a touchdown can change the game and change the entire momentum of a football game, not just on the high school level, but any game in regards to that. So just putting an emphasis on it and wanting to be great on special teams and take advantage and capitalize in that particular area of the game. Defensively, we just simplified a lot of things defensively, which has allowed our kids to play faster, which I can't say they are playing faster because it's a lot more simple for them. And, we just got to get things moving offensively. Once we get things moving offensively, we'll be in better shape, as we head into this week.
And Mike and I noticed, too, looking up and down the starting lineup for the Cavaliers defensively last week, that looked like you were going with a bit of a different defensive scheme than we got to see last year. Can you walk us through the decision behind that and what brought you to going with that kind of makeup?
Well, just the majority of the teams that we played, non-conference and conference, they want to run the football. Basically, especially when we get into conference play, running the football is priority for most of those teams, if not all of them. So we just wanted to go in with a game plan to where we could be sound in the run game and and defend the pass when needed. But we really just wanted to put an emphasis on stopping the run because we know we was going to see that so much, non-conference and conference.
So moving over to the offensive side of the ball now, a bit of a rough night on that side of things for the Cavaliers. A couple of big plays here and there. We'll definitely get into those, of course, in our next segment when we talk about our players of the game. But you and I were talking about it before we came on air. Robbie Sims making really his first start on a varsity team. Of course, he moved here from Georgia over the summer, played junior varsity at his former high school.
Mm-hmm.
Walk me through, what preparations there were with him coming into last week, and then in turn, what the preparation has been with him this week.
Throughout the whole entire summer, we was working BJ Brett at quarterback, and him and Robbie kind of split time, and then we came in to make the decision to both of them has to be on the field. They're both our better athletes. So let's just move BJ to a position to where we can get the ball in his hands, and let Robbie take the reins and lead the offense as quarterback. So that's what we decided to do. And as you mentioned, playing in his first varsity game, similar to BJ when he had to come in last year and play at Pinecrest, now that he's had a week to kind of see how the speed of the game is actually moving and to understand, the varsity level a little bit more, I think he'll be a little bit more composed this week heading into week 2. And it's just all about establishing a rhythm at that position. We weren't able to establish a rhythm with him. So, kind of things happen, but we bounced back from it, and we learn from it, and that's the good thing about film and watching film, is you learn from it and you grow from it.
Coach, you bring up film, you in a way you had a bit of an extra day to get prepared for this coming Friday night. We talked after last Thursday night's game, and you did say that you were going to be practicing on Friday. Walk us through, what this past, few days of practice have been like as you get prepared for going on the road for the first time this Friday evening.
So we came in on Friday, just wanted to get the guys, like a small little lift in, just kind of roll out, get the soreness out a little bit, and then watch film. And normally we watch film on Mondays, but being able to have that extra day freed up time for us to practice and actually hit the field today, which was beneficial in a way because we had watched Westover, all on Friday and cleaned up mistakes there and talked about mistakes there. But now, and then we was able to come in on yesterday and just focus on Green Hope and leave last week where it was and move forward towards this week. So, we were just getting prepared to go on the road, first home game. Nothing different than what we done all summer because we was on the road. Seemed like every 7-on-7 we went to was on the road. So, we should be familiar and comfortable with going on the road and playing football.
So after your first week of live action, real competition last Thursday, and coming into this week to evaluate how your team did, are there any guys that you see maybe have strengths elsewhere around the team in different positions? Is there going to be any moving around, kind of working with the parts at this point in the season?
Well, it just all depends on what you have injury wise and those type of things. Most of the good thing about our guys is most of them can play more than one position. But as of now, we're going to keep pressing forward with what we've been doing and what we've been working. We don't want to get rattled and feel like we got to come out of our defensive scheme or feel like we got to come out of our offensive scheme because, based on one bad night, we're going to keep pressing forward and keep guys in certain positions, maybe a few changes here and there, but nothing too major to where it's a completely new offense or defense or anything like that.
Makes a lot of sense. Real quick, we'll go ahead and take a look at the Sandhills Athletic Conference scoreboard from Week 1. Fortunately, everybody was able to get their games in, some on Thursday night, some on Friday night, because as you probably well know, we did have some inclement weather on Friday. Lee County was victorious over Northwood on Friday evening. 53-20 is that final score. Scotland County defeated Northern Durham on Thursday evening, 50-0. Bit of surprise out of Richmond County on Thursday night. Mount Tabor defeating Richmond High School 45-7. Boy, you don't see scores like that coming out of Richmond High School, especially not at home. very often. Rollsville defeated Pinecrest at Pinecrest 52-28 on Friday night. Grace Creek on top of Hoke County 35-34 on Thursday. Close one there. And then Union Pines defeated Montgomery Central by a final score of 28-7. So non-conference games for everybody last week, and of course non-conference will be the name of the game rolling into week 2, which we'll discuss in our next segment. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at our players of the game from last week, and of course we'll have our selection for the coach's player of the game, as well as a preview of Southern Lee's next game against Green Hope. We'll be right back.
WFJA would like to thank the following advertisers for bringing you the Lee County Coaches Show: Jones Printing Company, Domino's, WilkinsonCars.com, Sheriff Brian Estes, Farm Bureau of Tramway, the Dairy Bar and Flame Restaurants, Fix-It Plumbing, and Brick Capital Video.
Welcome back to the Southern League Coaches Show. Austin Thomas in studio with Cavalier head coach Mike McClure. And now in our segment, we're going to go over our players of the game for the previous week. Looking up and down the sheet here, it's of course good to see some different names popping up as they contributed to the Cavaliers last week. But first one we'll talk about, of course, is the Norman Financial Group and Bubba Subs and Pizza Offensive Player of the Game. And that's going to go to none other than Mr. Alex Touchard, who in last week's game had a 15-yard reception. And it's funny, you and I were talking about it during the commercial break. Alex is not necessarily a name we feel like we got to say a lot last year, but in game 1, he has a huge contribution for the offense.
Yeah, he was one of those guys, like we were talking about. He's just a guy we can kind of move around based on the offense and defense that we run. So, it's kind of fitting to him. He's a physical kid, gets in there and blocks, can catch as well, and then defensively he can move outside and play outside linebacker for you. So he was able to get in there and get him a 15-yard reception on Thursday, and like this week we move him down to play tight end. So just a versatile kid that we can put in a lot of different positions.
Well, I think we certainly look forward to being able to say his name plenty more this season. And now we move, of course, to the other side of the ball, Norman Financial Group and Bubba Subs and Pizza Defensive Player of the Game, and that goes to the young man who arguably had the biggest play of the game Thursday night for the Cavaliers, Mr. Brett Tate Blanks, a 33-yard interception for a touchdown, big pick six, nobody even close to him, untouched the entire way into the end zone. What can you tell us about Brett?
Yeah, just real super quiet kid, and like you say, he was a quarterback last year, and most quarterbacks aren't quiet, but he's a real quiet kid, humble kid, comes in and works and just does his job, does his responsibility, and it showed on that play. We were in cover 2. He had the flat. He sat on the flat. He, rolled the receiver down the field, and somebody came threatened the flat, so he broke on the flat and broke on the football and made a great play, which is what we needed at that time, because even when he makes that play, we're down 19, and it's still a ball game. But unfortunately, we couldn't capitalize on it. But just a great play from him to be able to see it and do what he's coached to do.
Well, and a cool thing about that play as well is that when you look back at Westover's quarterback stats from last year, he only threw 2 interceptions in all of 2021. Well, game 1, Brett gets 1 off of him. There in the third quarter. So hats off to Brett Tate Blanks, of course, for the putting points on the board for the Cavaliers last Thursday night. And now comes time where we get to name our Wilkinson Chevrolet Coach McClure player of the game against Westover. Coach, who do we have?
For this week, we got Mike Tate Blanks. It's actually Brett's twin brother. Then they're total opposites. Mike, he's always wired up and fired up. But he got to be to play linebacker position, which he does. And we felt it was necessary to give him this week because he had 9 tackles. He played just about every snap every snap defensively, and he played every special team snap as well. So contributing to special teams and defensively, and he even plays offense as well. So, we felt it was necessary for him to win it tonight.
Well, congratulations to Mike Tate Blanks, Brett Tate Blanks, and Alex Touchard for taking home some hardware this week for their performance against against Westover last week. Coach, we look at the names that we just mentioned. Mike Tate Blanks, Brett Tate Blanks, both sophomores, correct? And Alex Touchard, is he a sophomore?
He's a junior.
He's a junior. Okay, well, 3 guys who still have some time left on this Cavaliers roster moving forward. What does that mean to you as a coaching staff to see production like this from these kids already when you know that you still have time to mold them?
That means we're heading in the right direction. We've been a fairly young team since I've been here, and those guys are just going to keep getting more comfortable with playing, varsity football or just playing football in general. And, all these young men, they take coaching well. They listen. So, the sky's the limit for them as they continue to play and grow on this journey.
Well, that's certainly great to hear. Now, those, of course, were our accolades for last week. Now, looking ahead to this Friday night, the Cavaliers get to go on the road for the very first time in 2022, heading up to Cary. Not too bad of a drive, just straight up number 1 to play against the Green Hope Falcons. Now, Green Hope dropped their Week 1 contest. Bit of a blowout score in that one as well. So what can you tell us about the Falcons and how you're preparing for this game?
Well, we know that, like us, they're searching for their first win as well. So they know they're going to be anxious. They're going to be just as eager to get a win, just as we are. They really want to run the football, which is what they really want to do. They just want to get numbers and outnumber you and kind of pound you in that regard. They'll throw it if they have to. And then defensively, that's what they want to do offensively. Defensively, we didn't pick up the blitz well against Westover, so we can expect a lot of teams to attack us in that regard, in that area now, being that we didn't pick it up well. It's kind of something we put out on tape that it's not good, but we got time to clean it up, and so now and then if they do decide to blitz, then we can make them pay in certain ways.
Any particular players on that roster or any particular positions that that you've been paying special attention to as you prepare this week?
Well, the quarterback position and the running back position, they're extremely shifty runners. Actually, if the quarterback can almost be a running back for him, because he's talented. He runs hard and he has good vision for them. So he's definitely a guy, or that's a position that we definitely have to contain, and we have to make sure that we keep in check.
So, with this being the first road game for this season, and of course, first road game for your starting quarterback Robbie Sims, walk us through what the process is like for a road game, on game day versus what a home game looks like. When are you arriving at the school? What time are you eating? That sort of thing.
Well, since school's not in, it's a little different of when school is in. But since school's not in, we still try to get them here at school time, so they'll arrive at 3:30. We'll go through all of our special team checks and walkthroughs and all of that, and then we'll have a pregame meal and devotion, and then we'll leave the school. And on the bus, it's kind of their downtime versus a home game.
Right.
We get downtime where we'll send them in the weight room or in the gym with the lights off and just let them kind of relax and listen to their music and those type of things, and get their mind ready for a game. But, they had that time to do that on the bus on a away game. And, once we get there, we're trying to give them, a little break once we get there before, the first group heads out and start to warm up. So, like I said, we've been on the road all summer, so they're used to being on the road. They're used to telling me to get going fast and to get dressed fast and all of those things. So it'll be no different on Friday. They might be used to it now.
Well, good. Well, maybe those away scrimmages this offseason will play into your favor as we head into Friday night. Speaking of Friday night, any injuries, any guys out that we need to be paying special attention to?
Well, we had Kamari Davis. He collided with one of his teammates on Thursday and ended up having concussion, so he won't be playing. Still questionable on a few other guys. BJ Baldwin, questionable on him at the running back position, and also on Patrick Spearman, a defensive lineman, and tight end. Those two guys are still questionable right now, so hopefully they can. They're practicing today, and hopefully they can get a solid practice in tomorrow and be ready to go on Friday.
And, of course, you have your first JV game Thursday night. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and that'll be at home, right?
Yep, it'll be at home playing Green Hope as well. Those guys, they've been working hard all summer too. So, they're exciting to see those guys to finally get out there and go against somebody else other than themselves
Right.
at practice. So, it's not having 2 years of JV football. It's another testament that we're heading in the right direction of rebuilding the program and getting things back up.
Well, Coach, we're certainly excited for you on that. And, everybody, of course, if you have no plans tomorrow evening, be sure to make your way out to Cavalier Stadium and check out the Cavalier JV team as they take on Green Hope at home. And then, of course, again, varsity will be on the road this Friday night, traveling to Green Hope to take on the Falcons in Cary. Coach, as always, want to thank you for joining us here this week on the program. We look forward to a good game on Friday and look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
All right, thank you, everybody, for listening. We're going to take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a couple more words to close out tonight's program. This is the Southern League Coaches Show with Coach Mike McClure on WFJA.
WFJA would like to thank the following advertisers for bringing you the Lee County Coaches Show: Jones Printing Company, Domino's, WilkinsonCars.com, Sheriff Brian Estes, Farm Bureau of Tramway, the Dairy Bar and Flame Restaurants, Fix It Plumbing, and Brick Capital Video.
And we welcome you back, and we hope that you have enjoyed listening to the Mike McClure Coaches Show here on WFJA 105.5 FM. Boy, I tell you, it's hard not to listen to Coach McClure and get excited about really the program that's being built at Southern Lee. This is a quality head coach who has the right mindset for building these young men up. So we're Mike and I know are certainly excited to see what is yet to come for these young Cavaliers. We do want to remind you to join us each and every single Tuesday night right here on 105.5 FM WFJA at 7:30 p.m. And this Friday night, of course, prior to the game at 6 o'clock on WWGP 95.1 FM and 1050 AM. Our Coaches Show is also posted on the WFJA website and Facebook page each Wednesday by noon. We also want to remind you to check out the WFJA website. Go to Sports, then High School Football, and you will see a choice of pages, which include our results page with complete game articles posted by midnight each and every single week after the games, and the conference standings and power rankings, schedules for all teams in the Sandhills Athletic Conference, and up-to-date season stats for the Southern League Cavaliers. We are glad that you have taken these opportunities to join us this season for Cavalier football. Good luck to the Cavaliers this Friday night as they go onto the road for the very first time in 2022, traveling to Green Hope High School in Cary. And, of course, we want to thank all of our sponsors for bringing you our show tonight: Wilkinson Chevrolet, Domino's, Farm Bureau of Tramway, Sheriff Brian Estes, Dairy Bar and Flame Restaurants, and the Jones Printing Company. And we thank you, of course, for listening to WFJA and WWGP Sports. Good night, everybody. Go Cavs!